This morning, Georgia's Senate voted to create a special investigation committee to look into the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Backers want the panel to learn more details about the alleged relationship between District Attorney Fani Willis and the special prosecutor Nathan Wade that her office hired. Documents show the county has paid Wade now more than $680,000 for his work. Willis and Wade are prosecuting former President Donald Trump in an election interference case. Now, Republicans in the Senate carried the party line vote in the Senate this morning over objections of Democrats. Meantime, former President Trump now joining the effort to get DA Willis dismissed from the 2020 election case. We should note the filing does not include any new evidence, but Mr. Trump's team does accuse Willis of inappropriately injecting race into the case. The judge set a hearing next month on those misconduct allegations. He's also given the DA's office until next Friday to respond.
Welcome to American Perfectionist, where we dissect the intricate tapestry of political landscapes with a magnifying glass of scrutiny. Subscribe, hit that like button, and let's embark on this intellectual exploration together. Let's dive into the heart of the matter of today's video. The View copes after Trump moves to get rid of Fani Willis's RICO charge as things get worse for her. Hey folks, we've got an update on the Fani Willis RICO case against Trump, and it's unraveling with each passing day. The Georgia State Senate has taken a stand by voting to launch an investigation into Miss Fani Willis. Meanwhile, local Fulton County commissioners are demanding thorough investigations into the district attorney's office, calling for audits to address concerns of improper spending of taxpayer dollars. To add to the mix, Trump is now seeking the dismissal of the case, citing allegations of an inappropriate sexual relationship between Fani Willis and her special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, whom she hired to go after Trump. Let's delve into the details.
A judge to drop all charges related to Georgia's election interference case against him.
The prosecution is accused of alleged misconduct.
Caroline Elliott joins us live from Atlanta with more from the court filing. Caroline.
Well done, Scott. The former president wants the judge to dismiss this case because of a, quote, alleged misconduct and an inappropriate relationship in this case. Now, the relationship in question here is between District Attorney Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. The court filing claims Fani Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade have a personal relationship and that the DA has paid the Special Prosecutor over $650,000 for working on this case. The court filing also claims he used taxpayer dollars to take Willis on vacations. Now, neither District Attorney Willis nor the Special Prosecutor have confirmed or denied a romantic relationship between the two, but court documents show credit card statements with trips purchased for both Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. There's plane tickets to Miami, flights to San Francisco, as well as cruises and hotel stays. And one of Trump's co-defendants has also asked the judge to toss this case. The judge gave the DA's office until February 2nd to respond. The request to drop these charges came as lawyers for another one of Trump's co-defendants requested more information about communications between the White House and the district attorney's office in this case.
The White House has its fingerprints on all 4 criminal prosecutions of President Trump. And now we know they have their fingerprints on this case.
All right, folks, let me break it down for you. This entire case against Trump is unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. Trump has officially called for the charges to be dropped and the case to be dismissed. Now, I can't say for certain if that'll happen, but it's almost a sure bet that Fani Willis won't be able to stick around. Why? Well, at the very least, having her involved is a distraction from the actual case. We can't move forward unless she addresses these allegations against her. As long as these allegations linger, moving ahead with the trial is an uphill battle. And you know what that means. It's going to delay the trial, potentially pushing it back beyond the upcoming election. Now, the mainstream liberal media and the Democrats, they're sweating bullets over this. They want Trump convicted before the election to influence the outcome. But it looks like that's a pipe dream. Even if the charges don't get dropped entirely, Fani Willis might have to step down from the case, causing further delays. It's a complete and utter embarrassment for her and exposes the true motive behind these questionable charges, trying to meddle with the 2024 election. The writing is on the wall, my friends. This case is headed for a major setback. And let me tell you, the folks over at The View are losing it. They're in full-on coping mode because Fani Willis has landed herself in hot water. They're angry because their grand plan against Trump is crumbling before their eyes. It's downright hilarious. So, without wasting any more time, let's dive into their reaction and see how they're dealing with this mess.
So, criminal charges of election interference in Georgia are one of the many legal battles Trump is fighting right now. But his attorneys are calling for the case to be dismissed in Georgia and for Fulton County DA Fani Willis to be disqualified amid allegations of an inappropriate relationship with one of her 3 prosecutors. Follow it? Here's what she said about it recently.
First thing they say, oh, she gonna play the race card now. But no, God, isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question one? Isn't it them playing the race card when they constantly think, I need someone from some other jurisdiction in some other state to tell me how to do a job I've been doing almost 30 years.
So could these allegations compromise the case against him? Is stepping down the best move here?
I don't think the allegations are going to compromise the case against him.
Against Trump?
He's clearly a criminal in my view. And prosecutors, we used to say prosecutors were like roaches. Like, you get rid of 2 and then like 10 more show up. So even if she resigns and even if he resigns, there are just going to be 2 perhaps even better prosecutors to take their place. So that's not the issue.
Why does Trump keep saying she should resign?
Well, I think the issue is that there is an appearance of impropriety if you are sleeping as the district attorney, if you are, allegedly.
She doesn't admit to that.
She's not admitting to that.
Yeah, she's not outright rejecting it, correct? She's not explicitly refuting it. Nathan Wade isn't outright denying it, as we acknowledge its veracity. However, the essential point here doesn't revolve around the dropped charges. Rather, the crux of the matter lies in the prolonged delays of this case, undermining its very purpose. The objective of the case is not merely about dropped charges, it's about the incessant postponements sabotaging the case's original intent. The primary goal is to secure a conviction against Trump before the election, aiming to influence its outcome by having Trump incarcerated right before the voting takes place. So, the persistent delays in the case are essentially thwarting the overall objective. This aspect, however, is something that Sunny is reluctant to admit, but she will soon be compelled to confront this reality.
If you are sleeping with your special counsel that you appointed to a job and that person makes money doing that, right? So that's a problem. But the other thing we need to remember is this is probably one of the strongest cases against Trump, and she asked 2 other much more qualified lawyers to take it on, and they did not want to. I would not want to take this job on. You know what it's like to cross Trump. You get death threats. Your family gets death threats. Right. What lawyer wants to do that? She went actually to a lawyer that I know who's a former federal prosecutor. His name is Gabe, what's his last name? Gabe Banks. He's turned it down. She went to Roy Barnes, who was the former governor of Georgia, one of the state's premier lawyers, who I also know. He turned it down. And then she settled on this other guy.
It could be argued that the reason for declining involvement in the case lies in the perceived weakness of the charges. Some may contend that individuals or entities may opt to abstain from associating with the matter to avoid tarnishing their otherwise pristine record with what they view as baseless and exaggerated accusations against former President Trump. The insinuation here is that the refusal to take on the case might be attributed to concerns over potential repercussions, specifically the fear of receiving death threats from fervent Trump supporters. However, it is crucial to consider an alternative perspective that suggests the primary rationale behind rejecting the case is grounded in the perceived feebleness of the charges themselves. In essence, the argument posits that the decision is more likely driven by an assessment of the merit of the accusations rather than an apprehension of potential backlash from a particular political faction. Of course, it's worth noting that this analysis reflects a personal opinion.
He doesn't have that much experience prosecuting RICO cases and prosecuting this kind of case. This is the best that she got.
But if you are sleeping with a prosecutor and paying him $650,000, if it doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, purple, brown, it is wrong.
Yes.
And it is unethical, and I think it's against the rules of professional regulation of the legal. And it does affect the case. There's many cases that have fallen apart because an attorney is sleeping with a client, or people in the prosecutor's office are having phone sex with a witness. I mean, I'm not making it up. Go look at Griselda, you know, the one that's on Netflix now.
Which is very good.
She was she killed everybody, and the second case against her fell apart because 2 employees at the prosecutor's office were having phone sex with a witness. You don't
With the witness,
that.
yes.
At a minimum,
witness,
this is going to delay the case, and it very likely will till after Election Day. The Trump folks they do have the right to try to use every delay tactic in the book, and I just personally am pissed off about this. This is the case of her lifetime. It's a sweeping RICO case. It's a tough one. I think she actually has what she needs to prove this case.
She does.
But one of my best friends, Cassidy Hutchinson, spent months in Atlanta protected by U.S. Marshals to testify for this case.
She's a brave
and
girl.
now it may all fall apart because these allegations
According to
of
Sonny, it's not
impropriety.
going to fall apart.
The impending collapse of this case is inevitable, primarily because Fani Willis is fixated on men. Take a moment to observe the coping mechanism at play here, exemplified by Joy Behar. Despite the looming breakdown, Behar insists that it's not a cause for concern. However, let's be clear, Sonny's assurance holds no weight. Sonny is completely ignorant on the matter and is merely engaging in the same coping behavior as everyone else. Sonny's attempt to downplay the significance of the situation is flawed. She suggests that prosecutors can be treated like roaches, kill one, replace with another. But Sonny fails to grasp the time it takes to set up the next prosecutor on the case. It's not an instantaneous process, there's a considerable time lag. Moreover, she argues that the current prosecutor was hired because the best ones refused the job. Yet, in a contradictory statement, she contends that finding better prosecutors to go after Trump is not a big deal. The assertion that dropping this prosecutor might lead to the discovery of more qualified individuals is perplexing. If the best candidates, as per Sonny, have declined the job, how can better prosecutors suddenly emerge? It seems dropping the case not only causes delays, but might result in less qualified prosecutors taking over. This is a challenging scenario to fathom, especially given the revelation that Nathan Wade, an unqualified affirmative action hire, was initially selected because superior candidates turned down the case. In essence, much of the argumentation presented here appears to be a form of coping that lacks coherence and logical consistency.
But it could delay it till after the election.
I do agree that it could be delayed because they would have to get new prosecutors.
If prosecutors are like roaches, you can't end at 3 asks. So if you're saying they asked 2 really qualified, then one who's never taken on this level, and it might be the career for a lifetime, keep asking because there's more there.
I'm pissed off too because when you are, I'm very pissed off too because when you are a woman of color in such a high-profile position, you know that the scrutiny that's going to befall you is greater than on anybody else.
Your stuff
and she
cannot
needed
stand.
to have kept her house clean.
I will say there are still allegations, but I feel that way.
Well, I must say, she ought to have some accountability here. It truly reflects poorly on African American women. For those who criticize the lack of black leadership and wonder why more opportunities aren't given, just take a look at individuals like Fani Willis and her conduct. Such individuals bring disgrace to the black community. There are qualified, law-abiding black individuals striving for progress, but they face challenges in securing positions due to concerns about professionalism. The most troubling aspect is her response. Instead of owning up to her actions, she responds in a stereotypical manner often seen in individuals who, by chance, happen to be black, holding positions of authority. When caught red-handed, she fails to take responsibility. She's not outright denying it, rather, she deflects any criticism by labeling it as racism. Calling anyone who questions her actions racist or accusing them of hating black women is not a favorable representation for aspiring black individuals. This scenario does not bode well for those aspiring to hold influential positions. We need to accept the reality. It's not about singling out black individuals more than others for scrutiny. It's about the repercussions when people of color are placed in positions of power, make mistakes, and then respond in the manner she does. It tarnishes the reputation of those seeking such positions, making them appear untrustworthy. No one wants to hire someone who, if terminated, will play the race or gender card, accusing the employer of discrimination. It's truly disheartening.
You have a legal note, Fani.
Real quickly, if there's nothing going on, because she has not confirmed or denied, which is another criticism she's getting. If someone was making a false accusation, you come out and say, this is wrong, you guys, you don't understand.
There's a big paper
that's
trail
delaying a big part of this. Until they reassign this case, she has a stop on it, and she knows better.
I agree with you. You don't go to a black church. You have a press conference and you deny it if you're not doing it.
The reason she isn't denying the allegations is because they're true. Instead of owning up to it, she's orchestrating this elaborate spectacle, attempting to play the sympathy and race cards. Apparently, according to her narrative, elderly black women are somehow exempt from making mistakes. She's essentially confessing to guilt without actually admitting it outright. It's quite perplexing, to be honest. I would have more respect for her if she simply acknowledged the truth and announced her resignation. It's the appropriate course of action in this situation. However, she's chosen a different path, one where she deflects blame onto everyone else. The level of denial and deflection is almost comical. These women are desperately trying to rationalize the predicament their revered Fani Willis finds herself in because of her inability to refrain from causing harm to others. When it comes to this legal case, it has been dropped, and the whole situation is almost laughable. This is the consequence she rightfully deserves. She brought everything upon herself. It's a simple principle: before you attempt to criticize others, you should ensure that your own affairs are in order. I'm just stating the facts here. That's how the world operates.
But there's still allegations, and that's why I have a legal note. District Attorney Fani Willis has neither confirmed nor denied a relationship with Nathan Wade, and has denied claims she acted improperly in hiring him. Wade has not responded to the allegations.
You know, this is the Trump playbook. Postpone everything. Postpone the border. Postpone the economy. Postpone everything. And postpone this case. He figures, oh, maybe I'll be in office and I won't have to go to jail. That is his whole MO.
She's infuriated, absolutely furious, because that's precisely the imminent scenario, right? He's on the brink of assuming office, and even if they manage to convict him later down the line, the question remains, how will he end up behind bars? I mean, it's not as if a mere sub-county jail could confine the president. That's just not plausible, not at all. So, once again, it's utterly amusing. I'm thoroughly enjoying every single moment of this case unraveling against Fani Willis. It's only fair, she brought it upon herself.